Yeah. So we've just fished off a few picks out of our 30-pound tank, because we were just talking about the range of things that we offer our customers. And in here, I've put a couple of kahakus in there just to sort of show you how our kahaku range varies from tank to tank. Some lovely patterns, you know, brilliant pond fish. And certainly, I think that the best picks at the moment in our 30-pound tank, which is 6 to 8 inch size, are these Karashi Kois, which is something we started breeding last year. We've got a range of yellow colours, and you know, what we were able to offer at this point is a very consistent yellow colour, you know, throughout the fish, through the fins. You know, just brilliant prospect for people to put in their pond and grow on.
Like I just said, 30 quid, unbelievable value, I think.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah. These were an incredibly late spawning, so I think I spawned these about this day 1 year ago. Reared them in the fry pond outside during September and October, which is incredibly late. So these are still a reasonable size when you consider their provenance, and the provenance of a fish is something that we understand here at Byer Koi Pond, because we've bred every fish that we sell. Understanding the provenance of the fish is really important to understand, to know where you are, where that fish is on its trajectory, where it sits within the spawning in terms of size or colour quality or all those sorts of things. And yeah, look, for some people, those kinds of pieces of information really help them make a choice. These are great examples. I'm very happy with these Karashi Kois.
I'm a sucker for single colour fish, so unfortunately. But they are good. Bye fish. Before I say, bag them up.
Right, let's move into this room.
Okay, so I'm wrapping up in this room. We're going next door to. What's in next door's polytunnel?
We'll go to the nearest one, because
yep,
it's chucking it down outside, and that'll be the quickest walk around. We're going to see the female, our new females tank.
Yep.
Fish went in there 1 week ago. We're going to see some hatchlings.
Okay.
That are just a week old.
Oh right, okay, tiny stuff.
We're going to see some yearlings, which are just a couple of weeks out of being harvested out of the fry ponds too, and our male bluefish tank.
Okay, right, let's go and do that. Wow.
So this polytunnel wasn't here when you last came, about 2 years ago.
No.
It's one of two new buildings we put up, and this tank that is actually the hottest off the press. You can see we've still got a bit of construction work to do on it, but it's holding fish now. The fish moved in just a week ago. And this is my new females tank.
We sent out sleepers.
That's right, ground up from the 4.8 metre length sleepers. The pond itself is 6,000 gallons in the actual pond, excluding filtration. 5.45 metres long internally, 3.45 wide internally, and a water depth of 1.45 metres.
Wow.
And these are some of the females, some of our brood fish that are in here. There's the Karashi mum. And check out the skin on that Karashi, it's just awesome.
And there's a Mikashi.
And then the Mikashi mum, she's only 5, she's jumbo.
And these are big fish.
This is one of our kahaku mums, she's 6.
That is a big fish as well, isn't it? No. It's got to be what, 80 cm that fish,
yeah,
is it?
85. This is actually a male, he's loitering.
What's he doing then?
Well, we went spawning in here about a week ago. Before I moved all the fish in, I spawned the Larvarosa female, that's why I haven't fully cleared up. And so he's loitering because he was used.
He's living the dream at the minute with all the ladies then?
Well, I used him to get her going, but I didn't use his milt.
Oh, okay.
So he missed out, but there you go. He's one of our more voracious males, and you know, brilliant for getting spawning.
For starting it, yeah. And there's that. Is it? I can never say it. Kikokuria.
Yeah, that would be one of those fish, but without the red, and then with the red, it's a Benny
Kikokuria. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. That one's from Kawakami. Smaller. We started breeding them this year.
Yeah, I did notice that you'd done a a spawning of them, is if you don't do enough anyway, but this is a new line, you want to investigate some, I presume.
That's right. I mean, they've become quite a hot topic over the last few years. I think this, you know, in my time in Koi, there's always been the Gosanki. We're very focused on that, particularly with Kahaku and Showa. And then there's always been, what's the new variety that might challenge the Gosanki? And over the last few years, it's been Goshiki, Kajaku, Shirotsuri, and now I think Benikikikiryu is on the up. And I also find it an absolutely fascinating variety. They just look very good. That metallic, grey metallic, white metallic, and then the red pattern, and then the Komoru black. You know.
That's what I don't like about them. But it's like every fish, I suppose. Marmite, but
yeah.
Not for me. But there are probably more people that like it that don't.
Yeah. We've actually, so we've bred there quite a few of them this year. Obviously, you won't be taking any.
No, I won't be having any.
But here are some small ones.
Holy smokes!
So these are all Benikikikiryu.
Wow. And these were harvested earlier in the week?
These are spawned. I'll put this like this. Does that help?
Yep. Have these been outside yet? They've just been in here.
That's right. They're probably hatched about 10 days ago. Something like that.
Absolutely tiny, aren't they?
They're waiting for a pond outside to be ready. I'm pushing the boundaries this year to try. I'm hoping for an Indian summer, a warmer September.
I think everyone is, aren't they? It's been awful this last few weeks weather-wise, but.
Yeah.
So just to sort of not off topic, but so when you're starting a new line or a new variety, how do you decide what you're looking for within that variety? Because I presume you don't know everything about every fish, and have never done that line of fish before.
Yeah.
Is it just online research, or speak to breeders or other people that are doing it?
Those things. And you know, this is the first year we've done this, so come and see me next year and let's see how we did.
Because presumably you're going to be taking the good with the bad, because you're going to be taking a gamble on fish that you probably eventually you know you wouldn't need to, but because you don't know anything about the line. Is that right? Where do you start is basically what I'm saying when you're starting.
Generalise. We're breeding a metallic fish. The one thing that I'm looking for on a metallic fish is metallic shine.
Okay.
So I can see that. We can look at some fish further round, which are tiny, that are this sort of size.
A bit bigger.
Yeah, and you can see it. So, in respect to a pattern, that's all I'm after.
Okay. So you go back to basics, really.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Metallic fish, I need to produce
so you want
very, very high level.
A nice
fish.
shiny.
And then if I get some with good patterns, it's all the better, basically. Yeah. But these are very early days. I mean, we're talking. You know, we don't sell these. This is part of our production process that you're seeing.
Yeah.
That's Benikikikiryu. And this next tank along, they're not long out, spawning roads. And this next tank along is Lava Rosa Kahakus.
Okay.
Okay, these are about a week younger, so they've only been free swimming for about 7 days.
They are about 2 or 3 millimeters long, aren't they? They're absolutely tiny. Wow.
I use shading like this, really, not so much for the fish, but just to protect the nets. When I'm holding fish in nets, you tend to get algae build-up on the side.
Yeah.
And that can cause problems in terms of
allowing the water to flow, yeah.
Yeah, and in a worst case scenario, a lot of algae on the sides, and the algae goes crazy in the warm weather, and it can produce, I guess, oxygen, gas, little bubbles of gas on the algae. It can lift the cage net up.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, and completely kill everything. I presume you've learned from experience, maybe.
Absolutely, just once. So all our cage nets have got a weighted line on the bottom to hold them down, but even then, you really got to be careful. So just yesterday we swapped the cage nets over on the Benikikikiryu. You can see the old ones there. We've still got to remove it, and I have a pond that's going to be ready in about a week, and the Benikikikiryu are going to
go outside. Okay.
Yeah. In terms of what you're putting through here, and here, we're still changing things around after having put this new tank in place.
It's an absolute monster, that. And I presume that's full of K1, is it, that thing there?
Yeah, these two
Jeepers.
These two drums filter these 3 bays that we're about to look at.
Right.
The filter for this new females tank is actually outside.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but they have about 500 litres of K1 in each. This growing on system is 34,000 litres, and I have about 1,000 litres in total of K1 bubbling.
Nice. Okay.
To tackle it. So in here is the results of my Chargoi spawning and a small sample of Shisuis that I've bred for the first time this year. You can see the Shisuis have got the little blue colour.
Yeah.
Let's put a bit of food in. These are growing like nobody's business. I love my little Shisuis. It's another Marmite variety.
I don't mind Shisuis.
Okay. Yeah. So it was a small Shisui spawning, but you can see they're keeping up with the Chargois, which is which is very, very good. Shisui is a very old variety.
Yeah. And
I have a soft spot for them as well. My thinking is that I reckon it dates back to when I was a kid, and I don't know if I'm a bit older, but there used to be some sweets I used to have when I was a kid called Pacers, and they were like, yeah, I mean,
my parents have talked to me about them.
Oh, that hurts.
No.
But,
yeah, I do know what they are.
And they're sort of like a chewy sweet in layers. So you get these almost like licorice layers. Anyway,
and that reminds you,
I reckon my sort of enjoyment for Shisui probably comes from some kind of childhood experience with striped things.
So you're looking for a nice bit of Benny down the middle of a Shisui to give you that pacer look.
Yeah, yeah.
How many fish are in here, do you think?
I have the exact count, about 2,500.
Jeepers. We sell them all at £100 each. That's your set for life.
Yeah, it's doesn't work out that way. But the vast majority of these will go into our small koi mixes in the autumn.
That's a quick note, actually. Is this a trickle-in system that you operate on everything?
It is. It is.
Because no doubt doing manual water changes would be an absolute nightmare.
That's right. The vast majority of our systems, all the drum-based systems, work on that basis. Like you say, we have to streamline all our processes wherever possible so that we can handle such a large number of tanks and the husbandry of a lot of fish, which is also very important.
Anything to make life easier is good.
Right, what do you put in through here?
Yeah.
So these 3 sleeper-based tanks are all linked together on one system that forms the aforementioned volume. What you're seeing in here is the results of our Sharky Kahaku spawning this year. There's a little orangey and white fish. Okay, so we were talking earlier about when you were last here, it's like 2 years ago.
Yep.
And this polytunnel was here, but it looked. Some of the tanks are the same as what they were when you were here 2 years ago. This tank had just gone in, and these tanks here are completely new. So you know, the engine room really for our koi farm are the 6 ponds we have outside and the 6 bays, 3 of which we're looking at here.
Yeah, 3 here, 3 the other side.
That's right.
Yeah.
This is where we bring the fry when they're about 1 inch long, and we grow them onto tosai in these bays. So these 2 bays are actually probably of some interest because this has the output from our first Kajaku spawning. One of my jobs today, later on today, it might extend into tomorrow, is actually to go through these tanks and select them, and then we'll also be able to make available for sale our 2 to 3 inch metallics.
There's a few different varieties in there though, isn't there?
That's right. Yeah, we've got a range out of the spawning. So as well as Kajaku, you've also got various Matsubas, metallic and non-metallic. Have a look at this one. More from the same spawning.
Yeah, you can definitely see Kajakus in there.
Sakura Ogon too.
Now, is that a single colour orange metallic fish?
That's a Benigoi. So a
Sakura. Okay, oh, okay, go on. Yep.
Sakura Ogon is basically a metallic kahaku.
Right.
From a breeding perspective, it's a kajaku with no black. Or no Matsuba.
Okay, yeah.
I've got a couple that I'm growing on to Nisai. I actually quite like them. Now, this tank was new when you were here 2 years ago. We've been using it for growing Nisai for those 2 years. And literally, a week ago, we've just seen our females tank.
Yep.
We've moved our females now to the females tank, which means the old females tank is our second Nisai growing on tank. So, you know, there is still progression even as we speak. Not just very considerable progression since you last here 2 years ago, but it is still.
Well, when we came, it was just you had just this polytunnel, and then you had what you call the quarantine area, and then obviously I think 3 outdoor ponds, and that was it.
Yeah.
So it's massively changed within 2 years.
That's right.
Massively.
So these are our smaller Akamusai. I'll get a bit of food and we'll see if we can bring them up.
Will they come up?
Yeah. It's not long since I've netted them. They're a little bit cautious. It's almost like since they're larger siblings moving to the tank next door, they become a little bit more cautious. But they do love their food. There's only so long that they can go without resisting a little nibble.
You just need that one to go up to go hello. I'll have a bit of that, and then everyone goes.
Whilst they're working that out, you can see, you know, our usual range of kahakus coming through. We're in the production area of the farm.
Right.
You know, we have our sales area, fish for sale. These other areas are, you know, not public areas. Yeah. But this is where we produce.
It's like the heart of the business. The heart of the farm is sort of in these tanks, really.
Yes. So we have kahakus. We also have Showas. Now, last year we hit on our first combination of Showas that I was happy with.
Right.
It took 5 separate Showa spawnings before we hit on that particular pairing.
Wow. Okay. It's a lot of hard work just to get to that.
Yeah. So 3 years ago I bought 5 or 6 Showas. There we go. And 5 different pairings later, and I had a pairing that works, and it works really, really well. So these are some of the Showas from that spawning in here. All kinds of styles. We have Kindai styles, we have traditional styles, we've got he Showas, and the Sumi has been one of the aspects that I've been most happy about. These fish are only just over. I spawned them on July the 17th last year.
Okay.
Midsummer spawning. Currently it's the 28th of August, so what's that? 13 and a half months.
Yeah.
That's it. And these are the smaller ones. The larger ones are in the next tank, which we're going to look at. You can see the blacks coming out on many of them really nicely. I love this Kindai style one. Small dotty red around the.
I like the Kindai shower as well. Yeah. Flowery pattern.
Yeah, and then the black just on the white. It's lovely. We had a good year for tanchos as well. You can see a few tanchos in here. They come from our kahaku spawnings.
Yeah.
So out of that 120,000 kahakus, I've got 5 tanchos that I'm growing on to Nisai. Yeah.
Are they quite easy to spot early on, or?
No, they're really difficult.
Okay.
Particularly for the untrained eye at an inch, because the skin on the kahaku is so thin at such a young age, very juvenile. It's difficult to differentiate a red colour on the head from you can actually see
their skull normally, can't you? Or
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. You do get used to the difference.
Well, that's where your experience and learning comes in over the years, no doubt.
That's right. A couple of Sakura Ogons in here.
Yeah. Kajaku without the Sumi.
Yeah. There we go. Well, they didn't take long. I know they like their food. So because these Showas are just 13.5 months old, you know, it takes some time for the colours to develop.
Yep.
And the red's really coming out in some of these Showas now. You know, to show the quality of the lineage. The parent fish, the female is, we call her LMC, which stands for Little Monster Chops.
Okay.
I mean, she is 80 centimetres, but the history is, we had a Showa which we don't have now, which was about 8 centimetres and had a very big mouth. We called her Monster Chops.
Okay, and
when the Showa came, she was only 7 centimetres.
So she was Little Monster Chops.
That's right. The Showa is now 80 plus, but there you go. I shortened it to LMC because now we're a business, I can't go around calling fish Monster Chops.
Yes, a little bit.
Yeah. So we call her LMC, but that's the origin. And she's from Ueno.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely liking the food now.
Yeah, the Showa series came from the Showa Storm too. I grew a few on. That's it, the Kindo Showa. Yeah, it's a really interesting example. You see the black coming up where they're, you know, from the white areas.
I like it. It's right up my street, that.
You know, our origins are as hobbyists. You know, we are very much not hobbyists now. But you've got to know where you come from, and my origins as a hobbyist. I was chairman of my koi club for 10 years, done a lot in the hobby, articles, talks with the koi clubs, all this kind of stuff. So, you know, that is us. So maybe naming the odd fish comes back from my hobbyist roots.
Well, it's nice to have a name because if people are buying fish that you've bred, then like we're talking about lineage and, you know, history of fish, yeah, something to relate to, and potentials of hopefully turning out somewhere near maybe its parent if it's still half decent, or of a big size, or for whatever reason.
Qualities will come through, absolutely, some of those qualities. And you know, because we've come from a hobbyist, background, you know, that gives us a slightly different perspective on how we operate on a commercial basis. Yeah, we have a lot of buying experiences as hobbyists ourselves over the years, many years ago.
Yeah.
And that informs how we go about business as Byer Koi Farm. You know, it helps me. It informs how we want our buying experiences to be for our customers.
Yeah, well, you've learnt from your buying experience, and you want to make sure that people get the best, I presume.
That's it.
Cool.
Incidentally, these are being heavily fed on the auto feeder, so...
Well, they are on the Adam Byer auto feeder now, look.
That's it, yeah.
I'm sure a few more handfuls won't hurt them.
Lovely two-step kahaku.
Yeah, nice white head on that. There's definitely some interesting Showa in there.
And you know, we have our range of single colour as well. So we've got single colour metallic and single colour non-metallic. Ogons, the Yamabuki and the Kashis from the line we talked about earlier, and the Karashis. Sorogoi and some Chargoi as well. So, you know, in the spring next year at Nisai, we'll have a whole range of options for people.
You're going to have pretty much nearly every variety, I presume, are you, nearly? Is that what you're going for?
We're going for a strong focus on kahaku and Showa. That is the first thing we have to get right every year. And then we've listened to customer feedback over the last few years. Adam, we love what you do. We can't put any more kahakus in the pond.
Yeah, okay, that's a fair point, I suppose, yeah.
So, after a few years of having my arm twisted, we've started to breed a few other varieties. And the idea would be to, as well as, let's say, kahaku and Showa each year, is to have a small handful, 2, 3, maybe 4 other varieties to provide some selection. Now, single colour is going to be in there. They are a guilty pleasure. And then in And that's what we've got coming through from this side. You're looking at, this has been 2 years in the making. This year that we're currently in the production of year now, we're going to have hopefully some Shisuis, we're going to have some Benikikuris.
Well, these are all next year's kind of...
And some Kajaku, alongside Showa and Kohaku. And so the plan is to stay focused on Showa and Kohaku, but also to...
have a small sprinkling of other varieties.
Absolutely. And you know, as well as our customers, it's nice for us too.
Yeah,
different challenge. We talked earlier, you know, how your question, how do you know how to select, let's say, for Benikikikiryu? It's a new challenge.
Yeah. So it's good that you're pushing yourself and the farm and the business as well, because otherwise, just keeps everything moving along, and you know, like you say, then it gives there's options, isn't there? If people come down.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Should we move on to the next tank?
Yep.
Okay, now what's your fitting here?
I want to trip over so I can sue you. No. Yeah, this is fine.
Okay, down this way. It gets a bit wet here, I'm afraid. Now, you may want to sort of stand roughly where I'm there.
Yeah.
I'll throw some food in.
Oh, hello.
Right.
Some bright stuff in here.
Yeah. This is... I mentioned that we've taken on Benikikikiryu as our additional variety this year.
Yeah.
And that thought process started 2 years ago. We got our first Benikikikiryu fish into free farm 2 years ago, and I augmented it earlier this year. And the general idea is, when I take on a variety, is I'll buy a range of fish of that variety, and then it's my job to optimise the pairings until I get the best quality output in terms of, obviously, good shapes and healthy koi. But I've got to nail that. Like, it's almost a given. I've also then got to get the right colours, growth rate, pattern. That's really the hard bit. Okay, so on Benikikikirus, I've run several spawnings this year. What we're seeing here in this tank is one parent set, okay, reared in one particular way, and then in another tank that I've got like this, I've got fish from that same parent set that I've reared in a slightly different way. And then
what do you mean as in reared? Food, water?
All those sorts of things.
Okay, so a bit of an experiment to see what happens.
Yes. Experimenting with things that I know work in certain situations. But one of the things I've learned with koi farming is there are more factors than just the parents.
Right.
Okay. When I started out as a hobbyist, I just thought that the parents, clearly the husbandry of any animal is going to play into how it turns out. It has to do with the koi, it's going to play into how it turns out. And what I found out is that some of those factors are important. Make up 25% of your sort of quality of the output, should we say. In the case of Kohakus, it can change your spawning from being viable to not viable in terms of the pattern percentage that I get out of it.
Right. Okay.
So there's a huge number of these, not huge number, maybe 5 or 10 of these little tweaks.
Variables of the
Yeah.
Okay.
And that is what we've developed, and I guess it's our know-how. So with Benikikikiryu, I've taken it on. I've got fish that I think are good enough to potentially be useful parents, but then part of my process is pairing them together in different combinations of males and females, and then also rearing them in slightly different ways until I hit on something that works well. Now, this year we a moment ago looked at some hatchlings which were from Benikikikiryu. Those hatchlings were from a different female to these hatchlings.
Okay.
But I've used the same males, and so this is the kind of process I go through, and this is why, let's say for example with Showa, it took me 3 years and 5 goes before I hit on a combination that works. So with Benikikikirus, let's see. You can get some lucky outputs along the way, but for me it's about that optimization process is part of adding Byer Koi. It's Byer Koi farm, it's what we do to make a quality product.
That's crazy that you have to go for. I suppose you don't really think of that as someone turning up at a koi farm, that they have to go through 2 or 3 years of not pain but trial and error to actually find eventually the pairing that works, or like you're saying, all these little tweaks to make the spawning work and to get the final result that you're looking for with the quality of the fish.
Absolutely. At least 2 or 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
I thought you just bought a couple of fish, put them in a pond and that's it. Bob's your uncle.
I used to do that too. Yeah.
Well, I suppose you can do that, but that's not what you want to do. You're sort of taking it up a level, haven't you?
That's right.
Because you could do that. Anyone could do that, but that's not what you're about or the farm's about, is it? That's the thing.
Absolutely. And as a hobbyist, that's what we did do. But we're now optimising, we commercialised, and we are looking to push the boundaries. And so when you hear that the Japanese have taken decades to improve the quality of the genetics and so forth, and I really understand that in a way that I never understood before, because there are lots of these little tweaks, and there's no doubt that they've picked a lot of those up along the way through the generations.
Well, it had been passed down. Someone would have done it, like you're saying, 20, 30 years ago to find a decent lineage, and then down the line, no doubt people would have then started another one, but still had their original. Like you were saying, you're going to continue with your Kahaku and your Showa.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So we are striving for perfection, and I think that is what we take from our, the Japanese koi farms. They're constantly striving to do things better, as we are here.
There's definitely some bright fish in here as well.
Is that a little flicker of something positive, maybe, with these little...
What, the chags? Yeah, I'm looking at the chags.
Okay, yes.
And the ogons. So the Beni Kikuryus, are they the dark black ones with the metallic kind of shine to them?
That's right. There's some chargoys and soygoys in here, you're right, as well, from them spawning. But
these, some of them have got like bright yellow heads, or...
Yeah.
They are the Beni Kikuryus.
That's right. So a Beni Kikuryus will have some colour on it, and it's got black on it now. Some of them are metallic but don't have any black, and they are going to be some form of Harawaki or Kikasui, Deutz Ogon. It might be that some of those, there was black and it's now subsided. I mean, there's quite a lot going on in them, but in general, I haven't done any Kuroku with the Beni Kikuryus spawning. You're seeing,
as everyone.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But on some of the fish, on some of the metallic fish that have got the black on them, some of them have got a very solid black, and some of them you can see the black has become patchy or it's gone to a grey.
Yeah.
That's changed over the last few weeks.
Like that one up there. Well, there's a really light one just over there, look.
And I think this is the beginnings of some of the transformation that happened to this variety. And what people have said to us when you speak to people who like the variety, what is it they like about it? It is some of that change.
They won't be speaking to me.
No, but you can see the little glimmer of shine that you did admit to like.
Well, yeah.
So we'll see how they go. But it's a Komonyu style of black, and I think that is it's a different style of black to the Itsuri style of black on a Showa.
Yeah.
And we'll see we'll see what we can do with them.
There's a lot in there, isn't there? Definitely.
Yeah. I have about 800 from that spawning in this tank. There's some chargoys in here as well.
I think if you could keep them that side, I actually quite like them that size. I'd put them in a fish tank, but that's probably not going to happen, is it?
Little bonsais.
Yeah, little bonsai fish. I'll let go of that.
Let's continue to walk through this way. It gets a bit wet.
Yeah, that's all right.
So this tank.
Oh, this is not shy.
This tank is our old females tank, and these fish are Akanisai, so growing onto Nisai. Let's put a bit of food in. Like the other tank, it might take a little bit of time to...
especially under pressure.
Oh, here we go, a bit quicker. So interestingly, these are the larger of our Nisai, and I separated them about a week ago and put them into this tank. They've only been in the tank a week.
Okay.
And so these are the larger ones. They're a bit quicker onto the food. Same range of varieties, same spawnings as the Akanisai we looked at in the other tank. Possibly a few more Kahakus, because 2 years ago, 2019, I ran a sharky spawning relatively early in the year.
Right.
So that just means that the fish had a few extra months of growing last summer, and it makes 5-10 centimeters difference now.
And that kahaku, they're all the same age as Sans, and that's an absolute monster, that one there, isn't it?
Largest tosai, and largest tosai, and this one here. Look at it, you can see the quality.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah. That is an example. I haven't sexed it yet. It wouldn't surprise me if it's male. We were talking earlier that it's about 40-50 centimeters.
Yeah.
Some of the males. So.
Alright, Suri.
Yeah.
It's on my to-do list this year. Next year.
This is our 9-step.
9-step.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9-step.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the most unique kahakus that we've ever had. We occasionally get this multi-step pattern.
Yeah.
And very, very occasionally you'll get a multi-step pattern where the red's also really good. And that's one. I think the last one I had about 3 or 4 years ago. That was. Yeah, so light is very important with the kahakus and also with the Showas in terms of growing them on, and so we don't cover the ponds to maximise the amount of light that they get, and although it does mean we spend a bit more on our heating, we feel it's worthwhile. It's a worthwhile prioritisation call.
Yeah, nothing worse than a pond of Shiromuji. Right, I like that tank. There's some definitely interesting fish to see in there. So, talked through a lot today here at Byer Koi Farm. Any questions or queries or comments, obviously please leave them below. Anything directly involving the farm or fish, obviously you can speak to Adam about. That man there. I'll put all of his details, I'm sure most people know who he is. I'll put all of Adam's details in the description below. His website. He's got a very extensive blog detailing everything that he does. And obviously website with fish on it and all their contact details, so if you want to speak to him directly you can. So just a quick thank you to Adam and Amanda, who's not even here, for having me down and poking the camera around all day. It's been a brilliant afternoon. All his details will be below anyway, and you can catch up on Adam's blog and all of his website and Facebook pages anyway. So thanks for watching. Thanks for Adam and Amanda for having me. Thanks very much.
Thanks for coming over.
No problem, and we'll be catching up with you next year hopefully. All right.
That'd be great.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right.